The United Irishmen was a society formed in 1791. The Irish leaders, driven to rise up by colonial imposition, were inspired by the American Revolution, 1775-83, and the French Revolution, 1789. The aim of the movement was to gain freedom for Ireland, equality. It is new and strong and shall be heard. The society had many principled Church of Ireland Protestants in its leadership. Members were mostly Catholic and dissenters, mainly Ulster Presbyterians. These last were also victims of severe, English penal laws, said to be a machine of wise and elaborate contrivance, for the oppression, impoverishment and degradation of a people, as ever proceeded from the perverted ingenuity of man, the charismatic Theobald Wolfe Tone. The leader of the United Irishmen sought rights for his Presbyterian and Catholic countrymen. He and Napper Tandy, son of a Quaker ironmonger, a man of conviction and principle, went to Paris to ask Napoleon Bonaparte for help. Napoleon said to Wolfe Tone, "Mais, vous êtes brave, goodness, you are courageous." The movement was not halted. Lake himself said, "I am convinced that the contest must lay between the army and the people." In Athy, County Kildare, on the 1st of May 1798, triangles first appeared. A victim was secured to a wooden triangular structure and then flogged to death, if they had not information to give. There were right-handed and left-handed floggers. They flogged in unison. Tiring floggers had replacements, to ensure torture continued, removing skin, muscle and blood. Portable, traveling gallows were used for half-hangings. Victims were hanged over a soldier's back or from a wooden structure. They were revived, each time they lost consciousness from the strangulation. In another procedure, called picketing, the victim was left hanging but could choose to stand a while, if he were able, on sharp-pointed stakes. When close to death, this victim would also be let down, revived and hanged again. This would be repeated until it was as well to leave the victim hanging. In all cases, the outcome was a horrifying death. The most famous was the Wexford priest, Father John Murphy, of Boulavog. He was stripped, flogged, hanged and beheaded and his corpse burned, the method of crushing the rebellion. Such as it was, may well have been one of those things about which, on the 18th of May 2011, Queen Elizabeth II said things which we would wish had been done differently or not at all. Connacht had escaped from the pillage of General Lake. On the 22nd of August 1798, the General Humbert came from France, at Killala, County Mayo, Granard, Heppenstall threw a victim over his shoulder, with a rope around his neck, and jumped around until the victim was dead. When the English grew tired of hanging, any prisoners still alive were tied up and left lying on the street overnight. In the morning a herd of cattle was driven over them. Anyone still alive, once again, was shot. In the days which followed, an orgy of burnings, floggings and shootings of local people began, to deter anyone from joining Humbert. After the action at Boilinammoch, the regiment marched to Carrick-on-Shannon where, in the courthouse, there were a couple of hundred rebels. An order arrived from Cornwallis directing a certain number of them to be hanged without further ceremony, and a number of bits of paper were rolled up with the word "death" being written on the number ordered to be killed, and, with those in a hat, the adjutant Captain K entered the courthouse and the drawing of lots began. 2 places of execution were used in Carrick-on-Shannon. Prisoners not hanged at the first site were sent to the second. Yet other prisoners were exported, as slaves, to colonies like Australia and Tasmania. Free quarters was fully exploited. Robbery, rape and murder of young and old was carried out by soldiers with free rein to do what they wanted. Era, Banber and Fodla, our 3 princesses, of the land and people, of their defense and of learning, had overseen another stage in their relegation into obscurity. And famine was yet to come, in 1845.